Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the live show. Let's make sure that we have good audio and video. Everything looks clear here, and it also looks and sounds okay on my other screen. So I think we're in good shape. Everybody hear me? See me? Thumbs up in the chat if you can. And we'll get rolling. We'll get talking as long as everybody can see and hear okay. Let me make sure all my stuff is muted. Good? Good. Yes? No? Maybe? Yes, sir. What are gas prices in the UK? Randy, what's up? Check your email, bud. I got you a couple things in the email. I know you see them, but just so you know, a couple things in the email. Adam says we're good to go. All right. Welcome into the Rockstar Flipper YouTube channel. Thank you guys. Every Thursday at 9 p.m. we're right here live. And if you have questions, comments, concerns over in the chat is that Blue Wrench. It's Adam's Exploits. He has a great YouTube channel you can check out. So if you have anything that you need, go ahead and pop in over there and Adam will be able to help you. Okay, so today, scaling, growing, expanding your business, reselling beyond either a hobby seller or a part-time seller, possibly into either a full-time seller or a non-hobby, actually taking this as a serious business. So how many in the chat are part-time sellers? How many are full-time? And how many are maybe just a hobby seller that do it for fun or just getting started or only sell just a few items here and there? Let's see what the breakdown is of the chat, considering who we have here right now. Tammy, thank you for buying the remotes already in the profit, and welcome into everybody who is here as well. Hey, Dave, how are you? Flippin' Hippo is also in the chat. If you need another admin, it's Star. I think it is Star on the chat. It's also Keith. All right, so we have full-time, part-time, full-time, full part, full-time, full-time, part-time, full-time, 50-50 split of full and part-time, and we got one hobby seller over there. Of course, Dave and Bill from Gnome and Frog, they are full-time sellers now, both of them. Dave can be a moderator too over there. I'll let him. Full-time during the virus, otherwise part-time. Yeah, I think a lot of people, did anybody go or get forced into full-time selling during the lockdown? Did anybody over there? Hobby now, future for income. Okay, so what are the 3 tips? There are 3 strategies and 3 secrets to becoming a full-time seller from a part-time to hobby. If you have your pen and paper or you use your phone to take down virtual notes, go ahead and take down these 3 strategies for going over to part-time and full-time from your hobby selling and hobby to part-time and part-time to full-time. Here are the 3 strategies that I got from my friend and business associate and partner that helped me a lot. And this is what I hope you guys take from me. So number 1 is reinvestment. Absolutely 80% reinvestment. And so when you are a small seller, when you're operating on a couple thousand, even $5,000 or $10,000 is not a ton of money in the world of business when you have to make your bills and live off the money and reinvest. You have got to be able to live off of 20% of whatever it is you're making. If you have a job and you're part-time selling, you should not be blowing all of that money. You have to reinvest at least 80%. That is a number that just pulled out of thin air. But it makes sense, and I'll explain why in a second. But, it could be 70%, it could be 60, it could be 50. If you're making a lot of money, it might be a little less. But here's why it makes sense, especially if you're going to go over to full-time from a part-time seller. Remember, when you go over, especially if you quit a job, you have to make enough money not only to pay your bills, you also have to make enough money to reinvest into the business, right? So let's say that your bills are $3,000 a month and your business is profiting $3,000 a month. Every month, you're going to take the $3,000 and pay your bills. You've got nothing left to buy inventory with. What are you going to resell? Eventually, after a few months, whatever inventory you have is going to go away. You're going to have nothing left to sell, right? And so you have to, my favorite color is blue. Yeah. You have to reinvest 80%. Some people will say 50 to 75%. When you're just getting started out, it's gotta be as much as possible, right? Investing half of it. If you're making 20 grand a month and your bills are 5 or 6,000 and you want to put 10 grand back in the business and keep 10 grand, hey, that's fine, but you're really not starting off at that number, right? Once you're making $20,000 a month or even 10, 15,000, you're doing pretty well. It's good. You have to adjust for your thing, but you have to reinvest as much as possible. That's strategy number 1. It's the only way you're going to grow. You have to keep putting that money into buying inventory. Number two kind of goes with number one, but you have to keep buying. You cannot stop buying. Because there's a lot of people who are like, well, I spent $500 this week. I'll just work on selling. You have to keep the flow going, because for every week or day or month that you stop, it's going to catch up with you, and you're not going to have inventory to sell for the following week. And then you're going to have to spend all those weeks buying up to re-up to get ready for a couple weeks ahead of time. You always have to have deals working in the pipeline. Think ahead. We always call it the think ahead strategy. Be ahead a week to 2 weeks in business. Because remember, there's always shipping time. There's time to get it processed, sorted, listed, photographed, shipped out to wholesalers, put in bags. Whatever it is you do, you have to be a week ahead, at least, if not 2 weeks ahead of bringing in the inventory and getting it prepared to sell. So that is the second one. That you have to be very disciplined with the money. You have to reinvest the money. And then step two is you have to reinvest that money ahead of time. You can't be below and behind the 8 ball. It's not going to work. So that's strategy one and strategy two. Strategy number three is an obvious one that I preach on this channel a ton. And this is where people tend to either fail or they burn themselves out. And I understand that, but it's absolutely a necessity. And it is diversification, streams of income, multiple streams coming in. So you have got to work on that one where you're reinvesting the money, buying stuff out, getting that money rolling. And then you have to take that money and put it into other streams, because this will dry up. There will be times that this just goes slow. You have to get this one coming up. And then when you get this one rolling, you have to get this one rolling. And kind of the subcategory of strategy 3A, 3B. 3B is that you have to use that reinvested money that goes into multiple streams to hire help. You have to start working towards getting somebody to do the job. You're only one person. And so you get this business rolling on stream income one, eBay, it's rolling, it's doing fantastic. And you decide you're going to branch out and start selling some Amazon. Great. You can start selling Amazon. You're going to start working 2 jobs almost, trying to get both of these platforms working, right? Then all of a sudden you're like, man, there's a really good chance for me to sell some wholesale, shoot some private label on Shopify. I'm going to start working on this. And then slowly Shopify builds up, but you're neglecting eBay, right? And eBay's just dropping down. And then you move on to the next one, and now Amazon's dropping down. You have to get it to the point where these ones are supporting themselves enough to reinvest and pay someone to help you. Unless there's 2 of you, like a husband, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister, whatever your business arrangement is, that you have 2 of you working at the same time, right? And so the point is, and good evening to everyone who just jumped in, Florida Picker, Midwest, everybody, Wesley Chapel. Thank you so much for joining me. The point is, you have to reinvest in the business to grow that stream of income. You have to use that stream of income. This is our 3-step process. Reinvest to grow it, transfer that money to stream number 2, reinvest to grow it, and reinvest enough to hire somebody to take over 1 while you move to 3 and 4. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. They might take over Amazon, or they might take over the 4th one, or whatever it may be. But reinvest, grow, change to stream number 2, reinvest, grow, change to stream number 3, hire somebody. Hire somebody once you have multiple streams. Now, I don't mean you have to have 10, 15 streams. There are a lot of people that only operate eBay. They do $1 million in sales. They do fantastic. That's their whole platform. That terrifies me to only have 1 stream of income. Trust me, it terrifies me to no end. If that's what you choose to do, fine. Reinvest still counts. Grow the business. If you choose not to diversify, skip step 2, move on to step 3 and hire somebody to continue to grow that platform. I don't advise that, but it is the way that some people are doing it. So those are your three investment strategies: reinvest and grow the platform, diversify the platforms, and hire help. Those are the only ways to get it out. So somebody says on my last tip, how do you find somebody that's best for your eBay business? And Sharon has 5 streams, 4 streams. A lot of you, how many of you have multiple streams in the chat? Tell me how many you have. Tell me what streams of income you have. How many you have in the chat. How do you find somebody that's good to help your eBay business? So that is a topic that comes up a lot. And a lot of people talk about virtual assistants. I'm going to make a video about VAs tomorrow. It's probably not going to be a popular video because I don't like VAs, and I'll explain it all to you and why I don't like VAs and why I think VAs are terrible for a business like ours. They're good for some businesses. They're not good for a reselling business. And I will tell you why in the video I put up tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can check that out. But To hire somebody to help you, I recommend local help. Now, one of our good friends is a military wife, and she was able to hire another military wife or military, somebody within the community to help her. Maybe you have a brother, a sister, a cousin, niece, a nephew, somebody, a friend that you can trust that can help your business. Maybe your significant other is helping you. Maybe your mom or dad helps you. I don't know, somebody close to you. If you don't have that, then the next route is to go local. You can use one of three strategies. One is expensive, and that's going out to the hiring boards like monster.com or Career, and you pay for that stuff. That's somebody looking for a career builder, job sites. Those are not really the people that are going to help you, because we're looking to hire somebody that's $10, $8, $9, up to $10, $11, $12 an hour. There's not a lot of money in somebody taking photographs and listing items on eBay. You can't pay somebody like that $20 an hour, $18 an hour. It's just not reasonable. It's not profitable. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help them. It's just kind of bad. You can hire somebody for sourcing. I don't recommend letting somebody else list unless you trust them or for listing, I don't recommend hiring somebody for sourcing unless they really know what they're doing and you trust them. So, the second way you can hire somebody is obviously through local ads like Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, Craigslist, dare I say Craigslist. There are ways to do that. That's probably the least trustworthy. You will find the cheapest people free, but you're going to find probably the shadiest of employees who may or may not show up, who may or may not steal your house blind from you. Very careful if you proceed with that. Okay, the third way that you can find it, and this is kind of the way that I would go about it, is word of mouth is powerful, especially when 10.3 million people don't have a job and you need to hire somebody to help you scale. If you put the word out that you're looking for somebody for a job that needs to make money at $10 an hour, $11 an hour, it's easy work, basic skills, you will get a response. Trust me. Tell the guys at your job, tell your office, tell your mom, tell your brother, tell everyone to spread the word. Put it on Facebook, on your personal Facebook page. Don't put it out on the world Facebook group. Put it in your personal, where only friends of friends, acquaintances are going to see it and say, hey, is there anybody hard worker, honest, whatever? And you will find the word of mouth is fantastic. Star says she has all the hippos to help her. That's true. You do. Best thing you can do if you sell one also on, say, Amazon, is having buyers that buy for you. A lot of people put out of work right now, especially if you can pay them cash. eBay addicts, not a terrible idea. I don't pay people under the table, really. If I'm going to pay somebody and I just need them for a week, I'll still write them a check out of my business bank account, or I'll at least put it, in some kind of form of receipt payment so I can offset the taxes. I want to do it on the above. If I plan on hiring somebody full-time or putting them on payroll, is a really quick way to do it. You just sign up for QuickBooks, and QuickBooks has a built-in payroll system. All you have to do, it's $100 a month, and then it's $2 per employee. You still have to pay the payroll tax, but that's just for their service, $99 a month and $2 an employee. So for one employee, you pay $101 a month plus whatever their payroll tax is from your state. And essentially, you just put in your bank account information. QuickBooks withdraws the money for their paycheck and for the paycheck taxes, the payroll taxes. They send it to your state. They send the money to the employee's bank account if they want it, or they write them a check that you can print out, and that's it. You literally don't have to do anything. It's so easy. So is Star counting Keith too? Keith is not real. For anybody who doesn't know, Star's other half, Keith, is not real. Tammy, the raspberry margarita from a delivery restaurant. It's fantastic. Personal Facebook is my recommendation for hiring employees. Absolutely put something out word of mouth and you'll be surprised and shocked. So how much money should you be making to hire an employee? Does anybody have any kind of guesses in the chat? Because it's going to be different for everyone, but I'm going to give you a rule of thumb for hiring employees. And it kind of goes along with our reinvestment theme of money. And so here is, what's up, Sabrina, and everybody who's joining the chat. So I'll give everyone a second to put their guesses over in the chat. 4,000 a month. So no remotes left yet, guys. I might have more next week. I'm working about it. So how much money you need out of your business to pay your bills and reinvest, if we're working on our 75, 80% reinvestment, is different for everyone, right? It might be 4,000 or 5,000 for somebody. It might be 10,000 for another person. Could be more. But to hire an employee, regardless of your level, whatever the employee is going to do, whether it's profitable or just frees up time, it needs to be worth 3 times the employee. So let's say that you give an employee $400 a week, right? That's $1,600. But if you factor in what it costs to put them on payroll with payroll tax and a payroll service, it's about $2,000. Your $400 a week is actually going to cost you almost $500 a week. I've done it many times. It's $100 a month for the service, so that's $25 a week. So your $400 becomes $425 a week, and then your payroll taxes on $400 a week are probably somewhere in the neighborhood of at least $30 to $40, sometimes $50. So you're talking about like say $475. So $950. Talking about $1,900 a month for an employee that costs $400 a week. $16 to them and $300 to payroll tax and the payroll service. Okay. Jed is actually in Lakeland, Florida. And so here is the rule of thumb for that $1,900 cost employee. You can't make $1,900 off what the employee does. That's break even. You take too much responsibility, risk, and liability having an employee work for you to break even. You can't do that. You definitely have to get out of your employee what you put in. So if you're putting in $1,900 to pay them every month to cover their paycheck and payroll tax and all, you have to make $1,900. That means they would have to make you $3,800 in profit. The first $19 to pay your expenses and the second $19 to pay them. That's the absolute bare minimum, right? 2 times their cost. Honestly, it's better for 2.5 to 3 times, because at 2 times, any kind of slippage in profit, any kind of downturn or liability or risk takes you from making that $1,900. It could be a really slow month and now they've only made $900. 2.5 to 3 times whatever you are paying them is what you have to recoup back. If you pay an employee $3,000 a month, let's say, and $750 a week, and the payroll tax and everything ends up costing you $500 a month, so that's $3,500. You better make sure that they're bringing in at least $7,000 to $10,000 a month in profit. That's just the way it is. You cannot work for break even or for pennies. You would never buy something for $1,000 to sell it for $1,100 or $1,200 unless it was like an instant flip. It's just too much risk and liability and returns and problems that can happen if you sell something for $1,100 that you bought for $1,000. You have to buy something for $1,000 and try to sell for, exactly 2 times is really great. If you're being quick flipped and there's no risk and liability, maybe you can take less. But with an employee, there's a ton of risk. There's a ton of liability. It is a write-off. Payroll and payroll tax and all that are write-offs. But you have to weigh it as to what profit and, if there's a slow downturn, are you going to be able to make it those months based on them not producing like they normally would? So that's really a good rule of thumb for an employee. So, okay. So hopefully that answered a couple of those questions. So we learned to reinvest, we learned to grow and diversify platforms, and then we've learned to put that reinvestment money and the growth of profit from those platforms into an employee, because that's the only next way to scale. So what happens with the next part of a business scaling and growing? What about adding on, Dave B just said it. What about adding on a warehouse or a building? Okay. So we're going to work the same formula. If you go to a warehouse, let's say you get a small office, a warehouse, it's $1,000 a month. And then you got to pay for electric and water and internet and a $50 alarm. You can get an alarm on your building for $50. You want to protect your stuff. You're going to pay $150 for electric. That's $200. You're going to pay, $75 or $100 to have some kind of internet or phone or whatever set up in there. So that's $100 and, $250, $300 plus your $1,000. You're $1,300 in. You're going to have some kind of liability insurance on the building because now you have a building. Maybe it's $50 or $100 a month. You're going to be $1,500 all in. And so now you're $1,500 in a building. You've been growing your business. You got an employee that you trust. They come to your house. They work every day. Now you want to go get this $1,500 responsibility. You're going to sign a lease, a year lease, 2-year lease, whatever it is. How much money should you be making to grow to that point? Well, again, the building does not provide you actual income. An employee is producing. They're selling. They're listing. They're doing things that actually bring money in or help you to collect that money, shipping, whatever it is. A building does nothing but cost money. There's no upside to a building profitably. What it allows you to do is bring in more merchandise, which then allows you to profit more. So what should you do to cover? You better be working on the 2 times rule for the building as well. If you're going to go out to a building, you have to have grown that $1,500 profit into $3,000 additional. Don't count what the employee's bringing in. You got to go above and beyond now. You're making all this money. You're paying the employee's bringing in 3 times her income. Now you got to bring in 2 more. That's it, right? And so you have to bring in $3,000 to rent a $1,500 on top of what you're already bringing in with the employee. Unless you buy a house as a warehouse and flip it later. So Jed has a really great tip, which is something I've considered, is getting a house to work out of separate of my home in my neighborhood as an investment property, using it as an office, writing off the office mortgage payment, the house mortgage payment as my office, dedicated, tax write-off. I'm owning the house. I'm getting equity. And at some point I can sell it, make a profit, and I've gotten all the tax write-offs. So that is kind of almost a dream. You're going to go rent a commercial building. You're just throwing away, $15,000, $18,000, $20,000 a year. Get a house. It could be an investment. So I'm actually considering that, Jed. I'm glad you brought that up. Considering getting an investment house to do that. So we'll see. Could rent a house, rent to own, and then own it later. I own my home, but I don't want to work out of my home forever. I love working at home, but I don't want to drive across town to a warehouse either. I don't like that idea. I've done it forever. If I could work in my neighborhood where I could just get up and be there in 2 minutes, fantastic idea, right? Props to Jed for pulling that up there. So anybody do that? Anybody work? Timothy Doyle says, do that with a duplex. Rent one side, use the other side as an office. Another fantastic idea. These rental properties and investment properties could be fantastic for an office business. Okay, so anybody have questions about hiring an employee, getting a building, warehouse, all of which I can help you answer, scaling, reinvesting, managing money, cash flow? Super important that you're disciplined. You keep track. This is why you have to be on top of your accounting. So everything that's coming in and out every day. And so that you need, so that that you have enough to reinvest or to put into whatever it is you're buying or paying for. You still need 20% as a down payment. Not really, Dave. I mean, you could buy a $150,000 house here in Florida. That wouldn't be bad. That would only be $30,000 as a down payment. That would be a great little starter home, but it would work fantastic as an office. You couldn't buy my house for that, but you could buy, there are houses around for that. But you don't even need 20% down on most houses, honestly. I bought my house, this was years ago with my first house, with like 15% down. So you don't even have to come up with 20%. I think I may have put like 12.5 down or something. That was, 10 years ago, but you could. So, the other thing is the liability of having an employee in your house or property. That's why you have to have liability insurance. So if you buy a house and you use it as a business, you would definitely want to get a liability insurance policy above and beyond your homeowner's insurance, because your homeowner's insurance isn't going to be real thrilled about you running a business. An employee comes in, slips, breaks their leg. You better have a separate liability general business insurance. You can get those for $50, $100 a month. That'll cover you for $1 million. So Jed brings up another good point, the liability of it, but you can get insurance. Now, as far as them stealing from you, security cameras or somebody you trust. At what point should you leap to a warehouse? That's a great question. You really, you know your income, but the income is just one part of it. You have to judge if you have enough room. If you're getting so much inventory that you just have nowhere to work, then you should be making enough money to afford a place. If you are going weeks sometimes without great sales, or it's on and off, you're not bringing in inventory this week, that week, you're really not ready, and you just have to work on growing. Managed payment by July 15th, Henry. Just put up a video about that. On a non-owner occupied house, you will need minimum 20% down plus a higher rate, Wayne says. Wayne, I have heard that, but I think if you're buying a house that you're not going to live in, but you're not going to rent out, I don't think that matters. What if I just want to buy a house and I just want to let it sit? I'm like, I'm not going to rent it. I just want to buy it because it's pretty and I just want it to sit there. I think you can get away without the 20% and the higher rate, right? I'm not going to rent it out. I'm simply going to buy it and let it sit there. Now I'm going to use it as a office, but I'm not going to rent it out. I think that's for non-owner occupied houses that you are renting out, right? It's like investment properties. Can you get a separate account with a debit card on eBay managed payments? You have to have eBay. I did a video all about this. Check it out. You have to have an eBay, a bank account to transfer your managed payments over. It's your vacation home. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's my vacation house. It just happens to be across the street. 44 years in the mortgage business, 20% down. Yeah, Wayne, what if I'm buying the house across the street as a vacation house? Is that something that would be, not that I would put 20% down. I definitely would, but I'm just wondering, hey guys, I'm buying the house across the street. It's my vacation house. I'm not renting it. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just buying it. It's just going to sit there. It's none of their business what I do with it after I buy it. I think you could get away with that. Do vacation homes require 20% with a higher rate? I don't own a vacation home, so I don't know. Maybe one day soon. I hope my goal by the time I'm 45 is to own at least 2 to 3 homes. That gives me like 10, 11 years. So that would be kind of, what's up, Patrick? That would be kind of the next step. So, an investment property here in the neighborhood, this neighborhood does really well, so it wouldn't be a half bad idea as well. And as far as getting a place like that, vacation home has to be a reasonable distance from your personal residence. Wayne's got me covered on all this. I'll have to ask him questions. When to go is really, the space in your house and when it's overtaking you. And if you have the opportunity to buy more inventory than you're buying or you're turning it down, it's probably time to get it. Yeah, a lot of people are getting the email for managed payments. I did put up a video you can check out. What's up to Colleen? She's in the house. And Jamie says I can have one of his houses. Little too far to travel for work every day, Jamie. A little far. Texas to Florida or Florida to Texas, quite a distance. So I'll have to pass on that. I have a she shed instead of driving to a location. So here's another great idea. And I'm going to tell you guys about a property. In fact, I could probably pull it up. So people build sheds in your backyard. I don't have the biggest backyard because we have a pool and hot tub and all that stuff. And so it was not, really our intention of doing that in the backyard. So we couldn't, but it is also a great option. I don't know if anybody knows about pre-mades from Home Depot or what's cheap or building your own or any of that kind of stuff. But that's always an option. Like that is something you definitely could do, right? You could build something in your backyard and then you wouldn't have to travel anywhere, right? So that's a really good option. That was something that kind of crossed our mind as well. I'm going to pull up a house that was really interesting house that was for sale a while back. Now it was a little out of my price range even now. I mean, it was really high priced. They came down on it, but even coming down on it, it was still quite the price. And I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to show you what these people had, which was a fantastic idea. I know exactly where the house was, and I'll find it in just a second. I wanted to show you guys the picture of what these people had. Anybody heard of or ever used the product called Purple Cleaning Power? And it was for jewelry, right? Everybody knows that company, Purple Power. Well, this is the owner of that company. They're actually here in Florida. And they created a business in their front yard. Let me show you guys the house. So can you guys see that there on the chat? Let me know when that pops up and when you guys can see that. And then I am going to click through here and show you exactly what these people did. I think this is a fantastic way this house was fantastic. It was listed at $750, $760. Let me show you exactly what these people did. And this goes along with that she shed business idea, but this was even a step up. So check that out. You can see that, right? Look at that picture next to the pool. To the left of the pool, you guys are going to see a picture in just a second. It's going to load on your screen. Check it out. Let's get over there. This is in Riverview, Florida, a couple miles from me. Do you guys see that little add-on to the left of the pool? This is where they built their business. Sharon, I'll get you the gray one, by the way. This is where they built their business. Look, they had a roll-up door. They had an air conditioning with an employee door entrance, and that was their entire business ran on the property right there. And if you look at the aerial view of it, right in front of the pool here, in this patch of grass is where that building on that house sat. And so these people ran their business right out of their front yard on their patch of grass where they had, that was about 1,000 square foot thing right there. So that was pretty much what they just decided to do. It was a fantastic idea. I thought it was amazing. And they built that for, I think he said they built that for about 10 or 15,000, maybe $20,000. And when you think about renting a place for $1,000 a month, that's 12,000 plus all the expenses. You're talking about 15 to 20,000 a year when you could just build something in your front yard if you have some property. And so they put in, they put in a $3,000, $4,000 air conditioning. They put in a $1,500 garage door. They put in a couple thousand worth of windows. They paid somebody to frame it up and concrete it. Yeah, you could probably build that thing for 20 grand, maybe 25 at the most. And Hillsborough County, Florida. Yeah. So, and that business, that Purple Power business is like a $7 million business a year. They sell it at all the trade shows. And they sell it online and on Amazon. They do millions of dollars a year. And they actually package and create that Purple Power in 55-gallon drums. It's straight out of like Breaking Bad. They have like 20. I went there, actually saw that house, and I saw that building because I wanted to see what it looked like to get some ideas. I had a friend, he's a real estate agent. He took me over there to let me see it. So they had like 10 55-gallon barrels right on their property, and that's where they created. They had the bottle. They had a mini bottling machine that could bottle like 8 bottles at a time. So they had somebody working in there that bottled it up, Purple Power, boom. They were just packing bottles of Purple Power all day, right? And that's how they ran it right out of their front yard. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that was genius idea, and they never had to do anything but have that on property. So something like that, if I had the yard for it, I would do it. Flooring, AC, electrical, lighting, Figgy Flips, a tough shed. How much did you pay for that, and how big is it? I think you can get some prefabricated ones for a couple $1,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. So it might be worth, if you're going to spend $1,000 a month and you have the property to invest in something out front. Could you buy a 2-store house, live upstairs in the business on the first floor? You could. A lot of people do that. That's a big thing in New York City. Like bodegas, people live above bodegas. So, okay. Anyways, if you have other questions, please put them in the chat. I'll answer them for a few minutes, and then I'm going to hop out of here and get back to work. We have a busy day tomorrow, as usual. It's Friday. Busy weekend, busy every day. 4,000 used for a 200 square foot building, she said, with electric lighting and everything for $4,000. So like I figured, for a brand new one, you're going to spend $6,000 something like that. You could get a prefabricated 200 square foot's not a lot though. I mean, if you're talking about getting pallets, a pallet is 16 square foot. So, I mean, you're talking about 4 pallets, you're talking about, 64 square foot. You got to leave a little room to walk. It could get tough. How are the remote sales going? Very well. We've sold out of all of the remotes with backs. We will be putting out remotes without backs tomorrow. We'll probably have 20 or 30 boxes. We've sold some pallets. I will have to count. We had 6. We've sold 3, maybe 4. So we'll work on that. Let me take the Beamer for a spin in Florida. Yeah. But yeah, we'll have boxes of all no back mixed remotes. They're all untested. They're going to be $99 for 100. We'll probably have 20 or 30 of those boxes available on Monday. So just stay tuned and watch for my post in the Facebook group and the email list. If you're not on my email list, go to rockstarflipperonline.com, leave me your email, and you'll be emailed when they go on sale. First come, first serve. Probably, I hope to have about 30 boxes. So we'll have those ready on Monday, and you won't have to wait. We'll be able to ship them out, by Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. We'll have all 30 of those go out. So, okay. I think that's about it for tonight. If there's no other questions, I appreciate you guys joining. Please take your businesses seriously. Don't be part-time or hobby if you need full-time income. If you are full-time, grow your business. Consider getting a location. Consider an employee. Considering producing, freeing up your time. Buy more inventory. Spend more money. Reinvest more money. Are you doing any single sales? Yeah, we did a little bit of single sales, DJ. We have quite a few listed on our channel. I pulled some out. I didn't cherry pick these. I wanted people to get good stuff. All I did was I basically pulled myself out like 1.5 boxes and didn't even touch the rest of them. No cherry picking. Anyways, okay. So that's the way to grow your business. Keep the merchandise rolling in, reinvest it, and then consider hiring somebody and getting a place. Otherwise, questions, comments, concerns, rockstarflipper@gmail.com. Comment below. Comments are the best as I read through them all the time. I get them updated on my phone. I can respond to them if they're good and help you with questions. There's a ton of inventory available on our wholesale site as well. You can email me, rockstarflipper@gmail.com. I'll link it to you. Message me. It's also liquidation lots, the number 4 less, liquidation lots with an S, Number 4, less Shopify. All one word, space Shopify. Google that, you'll find it. And anyways, Tammy already in profit with my remotes. Perfect. Appreciate that. 15 sold. Hit the like button before you leave. It means a lot to us, gets us good search, and we'll see you next week. I'll see you tomorrow with that video about VAs. Make sure you tune in and check it out. And otherwise, have a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend if I don't see or hear from you. And happy sales, everyone. Go make that money. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.